In the land of Israel, in a small village of vineyard and grain farmers, there lived a wealthy man named Old Simon. He had large fields, many servants, and great wealth. But his greatest treasure was his 2 sons, born to him by his wife who had passed away several years earlier. The older son, Judah, was diligent and careful. From early morning he would wake to go to the fields, supervising the servants, counting the harvest, and ensuring everything went well. He was a son his father could trust with his eyes closed. But the younger one, Joseph, was completely different. He had a spirit that sought pleasure and entertainment. When he saw his peers playing and enjoying themselves, his heart would ignite. When he was in the fields, his thoughts would wander far away, thinking about big cities, celebrations, and a life of freedom. He grew tired of the hard work of the farm and the discipline of his father's house. One day, after talking extensively with his young friends who had visited the great cities of Jerusalem and Caesarea, Joseph decided to do something no Jewish son had ever done. He waited until evening, when his father was sitting outside the house enjoying the cool of the evening. "Father," Joseph said in a slightly trembling voice, "I have something to tell you." Old Simon looked at his son gently. "Speak, my son. What troubles you?" Joseph took a deep breath. "Father, I know this is a shocking request, but give me my share of the inheritance. I want to travel and see the world. I cannot stay here on the farm every day. I have dreams, Father. I have a desire to see other lands, great cities, and learn new things." Silence fell between them. Judah, who had overheard the conversation, came quickly. "Joseph, what are you saying? To ask for an inheritance while father is alive is like wishing father dead. This is blasphemy and shame." But old Simon stretched out his hand, silencing Judah. Tears filled his eyes. He knew the meaning of this request. He knew that by giving his son the wealth now, he was setting him free, and perhaps destroying him. But he also knew that true love cannot force someone to stay. After a night of thinking and praying, old Simon called Joseph early in the morning. "My son, I will give you what you asked for. But remember, when you leave, you take more than money and possessions. You take a piece of my heart. The door of this house will always be open. If you fail, if you hurt, if you feel alone, remember the way home." A few days later, Joseph packed all his possessions, money, gold, fine clothes, and all the valuables he had been given. He left his father and Judah standing at the door, watching him depart. Old Simon did not cry out, but tears streamed down his face like a river. Joseph traveled for many days, passing through the cities of Samaria, until he reached the city of Damascus, one of the major trading cities. There he decided to stay. In Damascus there were parties every night, large shops, entertainment shows, and people from every corner of the world. At first, Joseph was somewhat careful. But gradually, he began to open his hands. He would buy food and drinks for his new friends. He would rent the finest room in the city, buy fashionable clothes, and attend every advertised celebration. People knew him as Joseph of Israel, son of a rich man. Months passed. Money continued to flow like water. Joseph did not see the danger. He thought his wealth would never run out. He found himself in gambling games, losing large sums of money in one night. He began lending people money they never returned. He began to believe that all his friends were genuine, not knowing they followed him only because of his wealth. One day, when Joseph lifted his purse, he saw that only a few coins remained. All the money, all the gold, everything was gone. He remembered how he came to Damascus as a rich man, and now he was completely poor. A worse thing happened. A severe famine began in that land. Crops failed, food prices increased, and many people began to suffer. Joseph returned to his friends seeking help, but they all pretended not to know him. Windows that had been open for parties were closed in his face. "My friend," he begged one of them, "just help me with bread and a place to sleep until I find something to do." But that friend answered him coldly, "Joseph, everyone has their own problems. I cannot help. Look elsewhere." Hunger gnawed at his stomach. He slept in the streets, covering himself with sacks. People who passed by looked at him with contempt. This one who formerly wore fashionable clothes was now dirty and smelly. Finally, Joseph found work with a Greek farmer who owned pigs. In Jewish culture, pigs are unclean animals, abominations. For a Jew to raise pigs or even touch pigs was a matter of great shame and curse. But hunger has no religion. Joseph accepted this degrading work. Early in the morning, he would go to the pig farm. He would throw them food, water them, and stay with them all day. A terrible smell came from them, and Joseph himself began to smell like pigs. The food he was given was very little: dry bread and water. Sometimes, being very hungry, Joseph would look at the pods that the pigs were eating. They were seeds from the carob tree, food that animals eat. He desired even to eat those pods, but his employer did not give him even that. He saw that his life was below that of animals. One night, lying in a small shed near the pig pen, Joseph looked at the stars in the sky. He remembered his father's house. He remembered the table full of good food, the comfortable bed, and the gentle hands of his father. Tears filled his eyes. "What have I done?" Joseph said aloud. "All my father's servants, even the youngest, have enough food and more. They have a good place to sleep. They have clean clothes. And I, my father's son, am dying here of hunger. I eat with pigs. Where did I come from and where have I arrived?" That night Joseph did not sleep. He thought about his life. He saw how foolish he had been. He knew he could not return as a son. He had broken his father's heart, wasted his inheritance, shamed his family's name. But he thought, perhaps if I return and ask for forgiveness, Father can forgive me, not as a son, but as a servant. I will tell him, "Father, I have sinned against God and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your servants." That morning before the sun rose, Joseph stood up. He was ragged, dirty, and weak, but he decided, "I will return home." The journey back was harder than the journey there. Joseph had no money to travel, so he walked on foot. All day he walked, resting under trees during the hot midday sun. People passed by him carrying food, but he was hungry. He begged food from some of them, and some gave him a small piece of bread, others refused him. When he passed through villages, people looked at him with contempt. His clothes were torn, he had no shoes, and he smelled badly. Children ran from him, thinking he was a drunkard or madman. Every day of the journey, Joseph was afraid. Will Father receive me? Will Judah forgive me? Will the servants laugh at me? But he continued walking, because he had nowhere else to go. At home, old Simon had continued mourning for his son. Every day, after his work, he would go to a small hill near his house. From there he could see the long road coming to the village. He would sit there, watching, hoping that one day he would see the figure of his son coming from afar. Judah told him repeatedly, "Father, stop hoping. Joseph has his wealth. Perhaps he has found a good life where he went. He may not even remember us." But old Simon would answer, "My son, a father's love does not cease. I will continue waiting for him." One day, at evening time, old Simon was watching as was his custom. Suddenly, his eyes saw something. A figure of a person was coming, walking slowly as if with great weariness. That figure was very far away, but something inside old Simon's heart told him, "It is he. It is Joseph." He did not wait. This old man, who had many years, jumped up and ran with all his strength toward the road. The village people were amazed. They had never seen old Simon run like that. Joseph saw a man running toward him. As he drew nearer, he recognized him. "Father." His legs began to tremble. He had prepared his speech of asking for forgiveness, but before he could say a word, his father finished running and embraced him strongly. Old Simon did not ask, "Where have you been?" He did not say, "What have you done with your wealth?" He did not blame him. He was crying with joy, kissing his son on the face, embracing him as if he never wanted to let him go again. "Father," Joseph said in a trembling voice, "I have sinned against God and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But old Simon did not let him continue. "Be quiet. Everyone, listen. This my son was dead, but now he is alive again. He was lost, but now he is found." He turned to his chief servant. "Quick, bring the best robe. Put a ring on his finger, a sign that he is a son of this family. Put shoes on his feet, not as a servant but as a son. And you, go slaughter the fattened calf. We will have a great celebration tonight." News spread quickly through the village. Joseph has returned. Old Simon has made a celebration. People came to see Joseph, some with joy, others with curiosity, and others with contempt, saying, "This one who wasted all his wealth and now has returned wanting more." The celebration began. There was music, dancing, and abundant food. Joseph, dressed in fine new clothes, sat near his father, amazed at this unconditional love. But one person was not at the celebration: Judah. He was in the field, doing his daily work. When he heard music and noise coming from the house, he asked a servant, "What is happening?" "Your brother Joseph has returned," the servant told him joyfully. "Your father has slaughtered the fattened calf and everyone is celebrating because he has returned safely." Judah became very angry. His face began to turn red. What? After everything he did? After wasting our wealth? And father makes a celebration for him. He refused to enter the house. He stayed outside, filled with anger and sadness. When old Simon heard that Judah would not come in, he went outside. He found his son standing at a distance, with an angry face. "My son, come in and let us rejoice together," old Simon told him gently. But Judah exploded. "Father, look. All these years I have served you without disobeying even one command. I have worked in the fields from sunrise to sunset. I have ensured everything goes well. But you have never, not even one day, given me even a young goat so I could rejoice with my friends." He continued, his voice increasing. "But this son of yours, not my brother, but your son, who squandered your wealth with prostitutes, who ate with friends of pleasure, who shamed our name, when he returned empty-handed, you slaughtered the fattened calf for him. Is this justice?" Silence fell. Old Simon approached Judah and placed his hand on his shoulder. "Judah, my beloved son, you are always with me. Everything I have is yours. There is nothing I give Joseph that diminishes your rights. But..." Old Simon looked into Judah's eyes with love. "Remember, Judah, Joseph is not lost property, not torn clothing, not money badly spent. He is your brother. He is my son. And he was dead, in spirit, in will, in his humanity. But now he is alive. He was completely lost, but now he is found. Judah, my son, think. If you had been lost, and you returned, what would you want? That I blame you, or that I receive you. True love does not think that a person who repents deserves punishment. Love rejoices in the return of the one who was lost." This story teaches us many important things. From Joseph, we learn that seeking freedom without wisdom ends in slavery. Short-term pleasures produce long-term troubles. But we also learn that it is not how we fall, it is how we rise. Coming to our senses is the first step of salvation. From old Simon we learn unconditional love. This father showed an example of God, who waits patiently, runs to meet us when we repent, and forgives us completely without bringing conditions. His love is not hindered by our mistakes. From Judah, we learn the danger of spiritual pride. Judah did everything right. He worked, he obeyed, he supervised. But his heart was hard. He did not understand that outward obedience alone is nothing without inward love. We can be good but lack mercy. And the greatest lesson: God is like this Father. He does not think we are too good or too holy. He sees us where we are, and runs to us where we are. He forgives us completely. He receives us as his children, not as servants. And he celebrates every person who repents and returns to him.